Okay, so let's try this again. So my game crashed and we didn't get very far. I already defeated the boss of it, but basically, so the backstory of what's going on is... Okay, yeah, it didn't save. We got a quest from this guy about finding his lost... This one, yeah. Okay, so I mean, it saved close enough. So basically the backstory is we were fighting a boss prior to this, and one of our allies in the game basically decided to help us out, and the boss pretty much like swallowed our friend slash ally and teleported him somewhere else. We defeated the boss, but for some reason the game decided not to give us our ally back. So now it's sending us on a bunch of quests to essentially get our friend back. So that's what the whole point of what we're doing now is. We're also rocking a pet build. I like it because it's kind of AFK, you know. It's not anything like overly intensive, or you know, you can just kind of sit back and let the are they NPCs? Yeah, the NPCs that we summon do the work. And this is a strange, like, how this works, because like regular damage and all that other stuff does nothing for the summons. So all of our gear, as you can see at the bottom, we have plus 20, well, you know, whatever, you know, you have to have bonus to pets. And strangely enough, regular damage doesn't do anything for your pet build. Leveling your skills and that specific pet will increase the damage, but in terms of gear or item drops, unless it specifically says bonus to all pets or whatever, then your summons don't benefit from it. So we gotta go to Barrowholm. We're gonna just run through here, and hopefully we can get there, because there's not going to be anything too crazy here. If we find like a mini boss or something, we'll defeat it, but other than that, there's not going to be anything too crazy. We just got to get to the destination. Then we should get a bigger quest after that. We also have some bounties to slice some bigger bosses on the side, as you can tell. And I always hate these things because I really never know if we actually have to do this or not. But we're going to go ahead and do it because I'm pretty sure I have plenty of those. Yeah. So let's see where this leads. Because there's never any indication of the actual way you're supposed to travel. It's just kind of like, yeah, go here, do this, try and find this, you know? When you get close enough, it gives you a star on the map, but that's the thing, like, I really don't think or believe that this is the way, just because of the fact that, you know, it made us that there was a path we would have had to collect basically disposables to get through there if I didn't already have them. And I really don't think that, like, this isn't a thing where it makes you do that. Like, all the ways on the quests are like straightforward, you know, like whether you have this, like, there's no... The quests themselves you have to collect stuff for, but to get to the paths for the next quest, there's never really anything yet that I've encountered that's like, yeah, you must go collect these to get to the next zone. Okay, so this is oh my, these things are level 50. Yeah, there's... Bro, let me through, please. Don't do this to me. Oh my god, we're trapped. We're trapped, man. We just got screwed by a boss fight. Okay. Well, we're gonna die here. So we'll have to run the whole way back, which is really annoying. Maybe, actually. The boss itself is level 43. I wasn't expecting a boss fight, though. That's really weird. But that's what I said. So this is not the way to the place. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, my fault. I hit the button to heal myself too late. Let's try that again. I think we can beat it, actually. We'll focus up. I noticed my health was dropping, but it was too late. But yeah, that's what I said. Like, it never puts you or forces you to go to a certain zone or a spot where you have to collect materials to get through. So I was pretty confident that that wasn't the right way. And then when you die, you have a little marker on your map, which is crazy. We made it all the way up there. And that's where we got to go all the way back to. Nothing really happens when you die. You do lose some XP, but that's pretty much it. The biggest part is you get set back, that whole part. And then the boss itself, because we're not playing on extreme, should still have lesser health every time we go back. So I'm actually gonna beat this boss because I want to, just for the sake of this, and because, like, why not, you know? You don't really get anything for bosses except loot, and I really don't think we're gonna get any pet buff boost items. Wow, these are actually really bad. You can see the level requirement at the bottom. Like, we're so far behind with our leveled gear. Just because we need the pet bonuses. And the pet bonuses are like the most important stuff for our build. So unless we get pet bonus specifically items, like, it's just like not worth it. And then we have little stuff like this that gives plus 34 damage and all those extra buffs. But as we just described, because it's not bonus to pets, that does nothing. Like, we would just be wasting, we would lose pet damage because our other rings have pet damage, and then that pet buff would do nothing for my actual pets or our build. So, okay, so we didn't really do much damage to it previously at all. That's fine. And then you get your XP back. I think you get a percentage when you, you know, come back and reclaim where you died. And that's the only problem that I would say I have with the pet build, is you gotta stay really close for your pets to actually attack. So I don't know if we'll be able to do this. If we die here, I'm not gonna bother wasting a bunch of time on this. We'll just move forward. But that's the only problem when it comes to bosses. I don't know if there's a way to get around that or something, but you have to be really close, like melee distance, for your pets to actually see. And then if we walk back, okay, we're gonna die to the thing. Can't even heal. Unlucky. Yeah, you have to be like melee distance with your pet builds, or they just don't attack. Which is obviously a big downside, because a pet build, you're like a spellcaster or a wizard. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, see, we gotta be like right here to get him to keep attacking. I guess we'll just run back and forth like this. That's probably the best strat. And wait for cooldown to end, and then we can re-attack it. And then my right click, okay. We're gonna skip the boss, whatever. We're gonna keep finding our way to Barrowholm. It's a little bit annoying just because, like I said, a lot of the boss fights, you just gotta be so close, man. And it's just really annoying. Because, like, we die so fast, obviously, because, you know, we're a caster, which is generally meant to be long range. Okay, so if we don't go up that way, we're probably gonna have to go this way or through here. So let's go that way. I mean, we could just keep going back to beat the boss, but I'm not worried about it. I'll do that another time when we're not doing this, you know? So we'll just continue to run through. And that's the other thing, though, that boss is repeatable. Now, right now, basically I'm leveling up this shaman tree. Once we get farther in and we get the other buffs, it will be a lot better, you know? I have the other one right now, but right now I'm working on the shaman because I think the shaman buffs are the best for the pet. I started off with the occultist one, which is this, for an extra 30 damage. And I should really max that out because that's a big play, but I learned later on, as I checked all the stats of everything, that the shaman, the Briarthorn I believe it is, the Briarthorn is actually like it has significantly more health than anything else. So I've been leveling that because that's essentially like our tank, you know what I mean? So because he can, like, if he has a bunch of health, he can take aggro when our other pets die or whatever, and then that'll give us more time between our summons, or the cooldown time. So that's why I've been leveling the Shaman class lately. But you gotta waste points kind of by doing this until you get that much, and then you unlock the following trees. So we have a long way yet to go before we get the good Shaman buffs. But I usually go, you know, you get 3 skill points, so I usually go 2 into that and then 1 into the Briarthorn. That way we get at least a little bit of a buff every level, but we also get closer to the good skills. Eventually we have to max out the Briarthorn anyway, because like I said, it's a tank. It's like the best we can get. Okay, so we got the Jugenbog Rift. Now we just gotta go a little bit more north and we're there. I say a little bit more, I don't really know how much more north, but yeah. Some boss fights, like the one with the Ulgrim, which is the ally we're trying to save now. The Ulgrim boss fight was actually a lot easier than that. Sometimes the bosses, like, it's kind of, it's, I don't want to say it's random, but like that boss fight, we had to be really close for our pets to actually take aggro. But sometimes, like, the distance is longer, so like sometimes the we don't have to be within melee range. That one's going to be difficult just because we have to be so close. My favorite is when they actually chase you. I know that's kind of ironic, but when they're actually running towards us, it's actually a lot easier because we can just run in a circle while our pets attack it. Is this the... I think that's it, yep. Okay, so that's what I said. That's why you always want to talk to all the people in town before you leave, because you get random quests like that. And, you know, so that's just basically free XP, essentially. Because if we didn't accept that quest, you know, we would have had to come back another time after, and then redone it later and found them again, because of that. But since we already got it, like, we completed it. There was this boss that was similar to the one that we just died to several times, with the tentacles. I actually beat it in the beginning of the game, and I was just exploring, and I was like, okay, like those little cave entrances we've just passed a couple times. I found one of those when I was kind of starting off, and I was like, okay, let's just explore the cave, because, you know, XP, loot, whatever. But there was a boss at the end of it, and it took me 2 tries, I believe, to beat the boss. And then I went back the second time, though, after I leveled up. And that's the thing, everything in this scales to your level. So if I was to gain 10 levels and go back to that boss fight, it still wouldn't really be any more easier. Like it would if you, like because we're still going to get buffs to our character and all, but it's still going to also get a stat buff. You know what I mean? So like if we gain 10 levels, that'll gain levels as well. Okay, we're at Barrowholm, sick. So a witch's bargain, let's check the quest. What are we supposed to do exactly? Okay, so we just gotta find the buildings. Okay. Easy enough, I suppose. We should, what's this? So we have a buff just by being in the Jugenbog, okay. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, my right click is set to a debuff. It's not like a crazy debuff because I didn't buy the other skills for it yet. You know what I mean? But this is what it does here. So, bleeding resistance is basically our Briarthorn. His ability makes the enemies bleed, which is basically just a DPS skill. So they take a little bit of extra damage from the lesser resistance. But the big one for me is that it slows them down pretty significantly, their movement speed. They lose 25% movement speed. So for the pet build, where, you know, you want to be far away, that's actually really big and pretty helpful, especially as you see how fast they run, even while debuffed. You see that? That's with 25% less movement speed. %64 pet damage, bro. That's actually really good. Okay. But unfortunately, the other one has the Briarthorn ability. You see that? The one that we have equipped apparently has +2 to our summon Briarthorn. So I think what I'll do is... Here, let's check it once. So right now it does 286 damage. And with that it does 234. So that's actually lesser of an item, but that looks sick. I'm actually gonna cosmetic that, because that looks really cool. Kind of looks like a Elysian Spirit Shield. So yeah, that's one. Now the other thing about that is, though, of course, that you also get the +2 to the skeleton buff, or a skill, but the skeletons in this are kind of sucky. And level 2 really would be really weak. Every level they gain stats. So level 2 wouldn't really do anything. Okay, so here's a mini boss. You can tell because they have a star above them. Now for this is nice. I like this. I can just sit back and the pets will just demolish them. That's how it should be, in my opinion, when you have a pet build. Like, they should take all aggro and what have you, but... like the bosses, like you saw, like I don't know why for the bosses you gotta just be like melee distance. I don't know if that's intentional or a glitch or what, but... and you can counteract that, like you saw, we were running back and forth, but... unfortunately our pets just didn't have enough health right now, or buffs, and they just died pretty quickly. Otherwise we would have beat that boss, to be honest, but... yeah, like I said, in 10 to 15 levels, give or take, we can go back when our Briarthorn has more health and he's more of a tank and what have you, and does more damage and everything else like that, and we should be fine. Okay, so now I'm a little confused because this is the zone we're supposed to be at, which is Jugenbog. Oh, wait, what? I could have sworn we made it to Barrowholm, but I guess not. Okay, so then I guess we'll just keep going. And we definitely have to max out this eventually. So we're gonna max this out, and I think this, right? Yeah, we need this one and this one maxed out. But right now I'm working towards this one, so we can have another summon, which will give us more DPS, and this one, which will give all of our pets more damage, more crit damage, and bleeding DPS. So that's also major. Oh god, I think we just trapped ourselves. That's another problem. You click, you hover over it while you're holding left click, and your character will try and go pick it up. But because of things like that, we almost got stuck there. If we got stuck, we would have died. Because these things... well, I don't think we would have actually died, but we would have got close. But I think our pets would have taken out the ones we were at. Alright, Mark of the Traveler, Gift of the Gods. There's also a thing called auto pickup, which to me is major. Oh. Okay. So I guess we don't go this way, we go this way. Hopefully, or not hopefully, I don't really care, but I assume that's probably going to be for a different quest then. Because that would be really pointless to just have an altar sitting in the middle of nowhere with nothing for it, no purpose for it, you know what I mean? When you hit level 50 and above, legendary items drop. Right now, I don't know what legendary exactly means, but... because I'm level 40. But, level 50 plus, we get legendary, so hopefully by then we can get some decent gear. I will end this one once we get to Barrowholm, so yeah. That'll be part 1. I don't know what those wards are, I really have no clue, and I'm not sure why they have little openings there, because a lot of the time you can actually walk through those. Like the little openings in the tree. But not that one. And yeah, as you can see at the top left, our Hellhound is almost... he doesn't have as much health. But our Raven actually has a healing ability. And the blue buff around our character is a toggled ability that we have unlocked that gives passive health regen. So we have to max out a lot of skills, but once we get there, our pet build will be great. I believe the max level is 100, so we're not even halfway there as a reference to being what we could be, you know, where we get all the skill points and such. I really hope this is the way, because like you can see on the map, there's so many different options and places you can go. And it just doesn't tell you where. And it's like, I don't even mind it, but that's the problem. Like, if you die, you gotta run the whole way back. Like that boss fight, for example. So since there was no rift, we'd have to run, like, this whole thing again, man. And I really don't want to do that, because that's where we died from the boss before, so we'd have to run that whole distance. Now, luckily, unless we get trapped like the previous one, like at that altar to the north, it's really hard to die unless we get like a crazy boss like the other one, where we can die in as little as like 2 hits. But for the most part, we can always heal and run like this, and our pets will take care of it. Anyways, let's upgrade it. So as you see here, we really should get that, but we'll worry about that later. We're just going to upgrade the Briar Thorn. Because we need more damage, and we need more health. That's always like your top 2 priorities. I think when it comes to pets, the health is probably the most important. Because if they die too fast, the cooldown is just so long, like you saw in that boss fight. And then we're just kind of running around back and forth hopeless until the cooldown is up and we can resummon. So I'd rather have like a ton of health than damage, just for that reason. Because you're never going to have so much damage you can just destroy a boss in X amount of hits. Like, it's always going to be a decent fight in terms of time. Because the bosses have up to like 100,000 health or more. And these guys here, they only have 2,000. So, you know. Okay, I don't think this is the way either. You always need scrap as well. So like, this is what's annoying about it. There's no real way to see where to go. I can only hope that it's this way, but because there's no place to go north. You see that? There's nothing there. We explored that whole zone and there was nowhere to go. So to find Barrowholm would have to be this way or like over there. And you can see the enemies here are level 41 now versus level 40. So like I said, as you level up, the enemies also level up. Except the other zones, like the starter zones in the beginning, the enemies never really level up. They're still like level 19, level 20. But generally speaking, okay. So I don't think it is this way. I'm actually... That's so annoying. Okay, I guess it is right here then. That's really weird. Like, look at the map. Would you ever expect this to be the location? You know what I mean? Like, that's so weird.
A blessed welcome.
Alright, so that's the good part though. When you get close, it does mark it on the map. Let's see. Here we go.
Welcome, traveler. I hope the day finds you great fortune. Do stay for a bit.
So the choices you actually make do affect it. In the beginning of the game, there was this guy who he had to, we needed his hammer or something, and I didn't want to deal with it, so I just said, give us the hammer. And then later down the game, he wouldn't talk to us or help us, even though we joined his side, because I chose to join a certain ally that had more spellcaster-based stuff. So we selected that, but he was also part of that group, and then he didn't want anything to do with us. So the choices you make now affect the game.
Oh, cutting right through the formalities then. And if so,
So obviously I want to be friendly with these people because every zone has different reputation and stuff.
Glad you agree.
So
It's
yeah.
true. We do have this.
Good. Speak to Tyvald and Jordith. I also assume this here will probably unlock if we get to a certain reputation. I don't know what's in it, but I assume it's probably like a good piece of gear.
Blessed welcome.
Okay, so we gotta do a bunch of missions first. Those totems now, okay. So now we must do the side quests. Okay. So now those totems, those wards that I said, okay, we have no clue. That's what I said, man. And that's really annoying because we already found so many. We already found like several of them, but because we didn't have the quest, there was nothing we could do. Alright, we'll just stop this one here. So that's part 1.